As I mentioned here in the video blog before, one of my favorite indie promotions to attend is Northeast Wrestling. Now, I've been going to this promotion for the last 5 or 6 years, since May of 2009, so the last 5.5 years. And what makes them different from every other indie organization is that they bring in the star power for not once a show or two shows a year or anything like that. Every single show, they've got one big star or another, whether it be a former WWE superstar, former TNA superstar. And in going to these shows, I met the likes of Jerry the King Lawler. I've met Booker T. I've met Tommy Dreamer a bunch of times. We've also met Matt Hardy a couple times at these shows, Scott Hall. So a lot of big stars go to these shows, every single show that they hold. And it's usually held here in Connecticut or Massachusetts, sometimes in Fishkill in New York or Poughkeepsie in New York as well. So they always bring in the star power for every single one of their shows. And at one of those shows that I went to in September of 2011, September 30th to be exact, was Luke Robinson. Now initially when going to the show, when I bought tickets, I was really excited to go to meet Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash was originally supposed to be there. Lawler was going to be there too, but like I said before, I met him at the first ever NEW show that I went to in May of 2009, so he wasn't really a drawing point for me. But they had, I think, Jerry the King Lawler, some other legend too, maybe Sergeant Slaughter or someone else, but I can't remember exactly. Maybe Lawler and a few other people, I know that for a fact, but the big top billing star on that show, oh, and Sonny too they had, and I'll tell you about that in a second, but the top billing star that they had on that show was Kevin Nash. And being the huge NWO fan that I was really excited to go meet him. And this was also in the midst of the whole Kevin Nash, CM Punk's Triple H storyline unfolding on WWE TV. So the guy had a Legends contract with the WWE. He was open to appear at all these indie events. I was really excited to go meet him too, because considering the fact this guy was just seen on Raw only a few weeks before this. So it was really cool to go meet him, and I was really excited to. However, only days before the show, I got an email notification from the promoter saying that the guy, Kevin Nash, had backed out. I think it was due to a health concern or something along those lines. And may I mind you, this is only, I believe, 2 days before the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view. And I don't think he showed up at the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view. He did return to the Vengeance pay-per-view, and I think in October of that year as well, and a couple of weeks later at Vengeance. So I figured that he might have pulled out because he had to go fly to the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view or whatever was going on. I think he had another commitment that night. Something went down that Kevin Nash was not going to appear. It really sucked because there's last minute too, only 2 days. I think it might have been a day or two right before the show that I got an email saying that Kevin Nash wouldn't be there. So I was really disappointed. That didn't change the fact that I was going to go there. I was still going to go. I was still going to have a good time. Because not only do they have the star power, their wrestling is also very good too. Brian Anthony, Matt Taven, Romeo Roselli, a lot of great heels, a lot of great baby faces in their company. So it was going to be a great time regardless. I was still looking forward to going to go meet whoever else was going to be there. Among the superstars that were going to be there, former ex-wrestlers, whatever, I don't know if you can technically call him a superstar because I don't think he was ever at one point under a WWE contract, was Luke Robinson. Now, Luke Robinson, for those that may not remember, was the runner-up for the 2011 season of WWE Tough Enough. Now, I love that show. I love Tough Enough. I did not watch the earlier seasons, which I do have to at some point. Hopefully, they will add them to the WWE Network sooner rather than later. But I was a huge fan of the 2011 when they rejuvenated, when they rebooted the Tough Enough series. And I love Luke Robinson. I was so pissed when Andy Levine, Silent Rage won instead. I was so pissed at that because I didn't think that guy was any good. And he went nowhere, too, because I remember like a month afterwards, he got suspended. He would later be released. Not before this happened, not before I met Luke Robinson, but afterwards, I think about 6 or 7 months later, and I think April of 2012, he would be released from his developmental contract in WWE. So it was a complete waste of time, and I'm not surprised they didn't bring it back. I know they were going to bring the show back just recently, actually, until they had to pull the plug due to cost concerns and stuff like that. But nevertheless, I was a huge Luke Robinson fan. I was excited to go meet him. So on that show, Sonny was there too. When we were waiting in line to, I don't know what we were waiting in line for. I don't think we got autographs before the show, but we were waiting in line for something, and Sonny was doing autographs. I really had no desire to get an autograph from her. So, and she ran out. She had to bolt from the arena due to her whatever issue that she had. That was the first time I had realized that Sonny had issues mentally, the drinking, the alcoholism, or whatever her problem was. It didn't start at that night because there had been events before that she had bailed on, but she was at the show. I mean, I saw her in person. I saw her arrive at the arena, and then she had to leave. So she wasn't there for more than like 10 or 15 minutes before that she passed out or something like that. And this is only days removed when she was in the news again for fainting or something at some live event, at some indie event. So I guess some things never change, but that happened. And I wasn't really disappointed that she wasn't there because I really wasn't interested in seeing Sunny anyway or getting her autograph or whatever. So I didn't really care about that. I just thought it was interesting. But anyway, though. So that happened. Luke Robinson at the show, I think, faced Jerry the King Lawler. Great promo beforehand. The two had a very, very good matchup. Luke Robinson, one of the leading reasons why I wanted this guy to win. And if you hadn't seen Tough Enough, I really suggest that you go back and do so on YouTube or whatever until they upload it to the WWE Network. But the guy was such a great heel. He knew his part. He had the douchey look, the guy that you just want to see the shit kicked out of him. He had that look. He had the mic skills. He was very good in the ring as well. Why WWE didn't have him win Tough Enough, why they didn't sign him to a contract is beyond me. And even in losing, they still could have signed him. I mean, Cameron Arion was the first one eliminated from that show and ended up with the only one from that season who ended up with a contract, which made absolutely no sense. And they rushed her to the main roster, and that was a whole disaster. But yeah, anyway, Luke Robinson did not end up getting a contract with WWE, which really pissed me off. But it did allow him to do all these indie dates and stuff like that, so I was really excited about that. So going back on what I was saying before, he had a great match with Jerry the King Lawler, cutting a great promo. I think it's up here on the channel, actually, after recording it with my iPhone. I think I uploaded it here to the show, up here to the channel. It might have been either... No, I don't think it was in September. No, it wasn't on that show. It was on another show that he cut another great promo. But, yeah, Robinson was a great heel. He worked a very good match with Lawler. I think Lawler went over, of course, as the babyfaces always do. So that was that. A very good show. Really enjoyed seeing him wrestle. Really enjoyed the show overall. That was the one show that Matt Taven, who after reigning as NEW Northeast Wrestling Champion for about 2 or 3 years, had dropped the title to Brian Anthony, and Brian Anthony would go on to hold that title for the next 3 years. So we were technically there in attendance for history when the title changed hands inside a great steel cage matchup. So I will never forget that. But anyway, so after the show, we're just kind of waiting around as we always do. A lot of people, after the final match, everyone just kind of bolts and stuff. Me being the person that I am, I like to wait until the wrestlers like come out sometimes because they come. I mean, this is like taking place not in an arena, but like in a gymnasium. So sometimes they walk out from the high school gymnasium from the back, and they'll kind of pack up their stuff and leave. And sometimes you can kind of catch them on the way out. So that was really cool. So we kind of waited, and this had happened before. So I kind of wanted to wait and see what happened, see if anyone came out. See if we can meet anyone else. I did get to talk to Bull Dread, a very good friend of mine now, after meeting him at that show. Great Northeast wrestling talent, very underrated in my opinion. But we got to talk to him a little bit, stuck around a little bit later, and after talking to Bull Dread, in the corner of my eye, I had spotted Luke Robinson, who had yet to leave the arena, and he was still doing pictures and signing autographs for fans. So I figured this is my one and only opportunity. And the guy's not a former WWE champion or anything, but it would be really, really cool if I was getting the chance to meet him. So I ran up. I said, "Can I get a quick picture with you?" And I didn't want to be rude or anything like that because I know he was on his way out. And the guy who he was with, the promoter, his agent, whatever, said, "Yeah, you can be the last one. Then we got to get going." So I was the last one who got to get a picture with Luke Robinson on that night. As you can see in the thumbnail picture, a great picture. I really enjoyed talking to him for that brief minute. He was really, really cool. I mean, being the douchey heel that he is, you kind of forget how some of the greatest heels are actually some of the nicest people in real life, which is really funny and ironic. But nevertheless, got a really cool picture with him. I don't think I got a signature, but getting the picture was enough for me. It was a really cool experience. He had to go. We left the show. Was left with a lasting impression of Luke Robinson, a lasting memory with one of the best heels in the indie scene today. I don't know if he's still wrestling. I think he is. But it was really cool to meet him nevertheless. So that happened. That was a really cool night. But then it wouldn't be for another 4 or 5 months. I think I had added him on as a friend on Facebook. And I sent him a message, not thinking that he's going to respond or whatever, asking him if he would do an interview with me for my radio show, Spoilers, at the time. And he responded saying yes, and I was so, so excited. And we had set up a date. We had built for it for 3 weeks, set up all the questions. Interview was easily one of the best I have ever done. And it's really cool to this day, too, whenever I see people that remember Tough Enough, that remember the 2011 season of Tough Enough, and remember Luke Robinson, and also, like me, wanted him to win. And I tell them that I interviewed him. It's a really cool conversation starter, too, because Luke Robinson was so chill to meet, was so cool to talk to in person, and also to talk to over the phone. We had a great half-an-hour interview with him, which I'll hopefully be able to upload here to the channel at some point. It's just kind of a long process and takes a while to upload and edit and stuff like that. But it was a great interview nevertheless. I think if you want to listen to it, it's up on my website, nextwrestling.weebly.com. You can check it out. But it's a great interview. He's a great guy. He really helped me out a lot in promoting the show and getting a lot of eyes on the show. I think it was one of our most listened to shows ever, aside from our Goldust interview, which I'll also talk about at some point here on the channel a couple of months later. So that was meeting Luke Robinson. I mean, he might not be the most notable wrestler I've ever met, like guys like Rey Mysterio, Tommy Dreamer, Bob Backlund, all these other guys, Matt Hardy. And like I said, he might not be the most memorable, most notable, but for me, it was a memorable experience in him being such a great heel and one of being a guy that I not grew up watching, but watching on the 2011 installment of Tough Enough, only a couple months before this. So to meet him and interview him was huge and a big thing for me personally, a big accomplishment. So absolutely, like I said before, if you get the chance to meet him, definitely go out of your way to go do so. He's a great guy, great wrestler, great heel. Like I said before, I don't know if he's still doing indie dates. I haven't seen much from him in the news lately, but even still, though, a very memorable experience for me meeting Luke Robinson 3 years ago this month.